This is Fernando Vega coming to you live from Cryocon 2024 here in Plano, Texas. Welcome to the CryoCeo podcast. I'm extremely excited to have these two guests in here, especially because of cryotherapy. I have the cryo nurse, Diana, with us here today, and I got Dr. Cryo, Kyle, with cryotherapy, who's a physical therapist. And what makes it even more exciting about this is we got two medical experts to be able to talk to you about the localized cryo that they have, the Sub-Zero process, the Sub-Zero, by American Cryo. And it's going to be a great device out there because a lot of people are looking to add different modalities to their practice. And here we're going to be able to talk about all the different options that you guys can do and talk about the clinical studies and this and that. But before I start with all that, I want you guys to go ahead and please introduce yourself. So Diana.
Hi, everyone. I'm Diana Jean Perdue. I'm a nurse. I'm a registered nurse. And I left bedside care. I'm a retired bedside care nurse. And now I'm a full-time nursepreneur.
Awesome. I like that, nursepreneur.
Yes.
I'm Dr. Kyle Radke. I'm a physical therapist out of San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do home health physical therapy, stopped that, opened up my own clinic, Recharge Health and Wellness, and we've been using cryo since.
Excellent. Well, guys, welcome to the show. I really appreciate this. This is going to be a fun time. So I'm going to go over here a few things. So, really quick. So, guys, talk to me about your primary services that you guys have right now.
So when I left bedside, I slowly left bedside when I was introduced to cryotherapy, Sub-Zero.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chronic neck pain. I was stationed overseas in South Korea, and I had a neck injury there. And then when I went back here in the U.S., I was working as a charge nurse for Department of Veterans Affairs. And I was always on my feet, and that neck injury got worse. So somebody introduced me to Sub-Zero cryotherapy, and that's when I used it. And immediately I felt the relief. So slowly I decided to leave bedside care and started doing the cryotherapy for my services as my business. So I built my cryo health, and while I'm building my business, I built the brand, the Cryo Nurse. So now I'm the Cryo Nurse and provide Sub-Zero cryotherapy, local Sub-Zero device to a lot of my clients.
Well, I want to go ahead and say thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Working with the VA is not easy. Myself being a veteran myself, I've seen it firsthand. So thank you so much for your service. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
A lot of people do. And then Kyle, tell us a little about you then.
Yeah, so I was doing home health for a while. I also was coaching at the time, AAU track, club track.
Yeah.
We started getting a lot of athletes that were getting hurt. We were sending them off to get different places to get healing recovery services, and finally one of the coaches were like, why aren't you doing this?
Yeah.
And so I kind of got into it, doing a little bit more hands-on. I wanted something that was going to be mobile, that I could go and actually work with them at the track rather than having to send them somewhere. And then that's where I found the Sub-Zero online. So we started doing that, and after using it a while, we started branching off, getting more club work, opened up our own clinic to the point where I didn't have to do home health anymore.
Yeah.
And then that's when we kind of got into the recovery and all those services.
And that's great. That's one thing I would love to point out about this is that, I've been in the cryotherapy industry since 2015. So from the big honking machines, how we call them, the huge machines, to your machine that's so compact and so portable. I mean, I still have the original localized that you got to fill up with nitrogen and you got to roll them around, and tell us more about your product. I mean, your product is amazing.
So what American Cryo, what sets us apart is its versatility and ability to provide different type of cryotherapy services, like focusing on pain relief, recovery, and its versatility. I was able to provide treatments to different areas of the body. Yeah. Using only one device. And it's mobile. I can travel with. I've been traveling with all over the U.S. and I actually, brought it overseas.
And it's compact. It's like in a briefcase.
It's compact. Yeah, it's in a briefcase. Yes. So it's just a briefcase. I get questioned the security all the time, but I just explain to them what is cryotherapy, and a lot of people know about cryotherapy and being in the cryotherapy industry. it's all about education. Now a lot of people knows it. You educate them, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I need to try it."
Yeah, absolutely. And then how about you?
Yeah, so like you mentioned the tanks, so that was the big deterrent for us,
Right.
because I wanted it to be mobile. So when I'm out doing a smaller event at an individual track, I can use a 20-pound CO2, hook it up right there on the spot. If we're doing larger events, tournaments, things like that, I can bring a 50-pounder out there, use it off. But in our clinic, we have several 50s that we use and goes through. But it's a lot easier when you don't have that huge tank that you have to push around.
Yes.
Yeah. And then before we go into the whole subject about protocols and different things like that, tell me about the experience of handling these tanks, because that's what people are going to want to know. They want to know how easy is it easy to fill? Do you just buy them in bulk? Like for example, my center in Sarasota, I still have the classic nitrogen cryotherapy chambers. I have a 3,000 liter bulk tank in the back of my building, so I fill up my own individual tanks. How does it work with the CO? You use CO2, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So how is it with that whole process of getting CO2 delivered to the office, individual tanks, different things, so you can go to be mobile with it?
So when I started, I partnered with a local CO2 provider, Central Welding Supply, and then I opened a business account with them.
Okay.
I think partnering with local and supporting your local businesses is very important.
Very important.
So I partner with them. They deliver the CO2 tank. I started mobile, so I did 20 pounds, and I go from one client to another. But then when the brick and mortar opened up for me, that's when I started ordering 50 pounds. So now I use about, I'll say, 10 to 50 pounds a week.
Oh, wow.
So they deliver, they exchange. I actually bought all the tanks, so they can just, fill it
swap
up.
them out.
Yeah, swap it out. $34,
Okay.
50 pounds, $18, 20 pounds. I rarely use the 20 pounds, but 50
That comes
pounds
out
is
to
what
be 68 cents a session.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Guys, 68 cents a session.
Yes.
That's huge.
That's huge.
That's huge.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if you have a business account, you can actually they give you a huge discount.
Yeah.
So that's what I recommend to a lot of our clients who purchase Sub-Zero is to support your local business owners.
Absolutely.
And build a relationship with them.
So ours is a little bit different. Like there's up in Washington. I'm out of San Antonio, Texas. So we originally got into a welding company running ours as well. And then we thought, hey, it might be cheaper to buy some of our tanks. So in San Antonio, it's actually cheaper from what we have found who we deal with to rent them out rather than own them.
Yeah.
So even if we own them, you can buy the cylinder tanks that are aluminum. They look a lot nicer, but when they want to exchange, they want to give you the big of their, I don't know what they are, porcelain or not porcelain, the harder metal tanks. And they're a lot heavier, harder to move around.
Gotcha.
So we just ended up renting them through. It's a lot easier than having to own them and buy them.
Yeah, it's kind of like with me with cryotherapy with nitrogen. It came out to be cheaper for me to rent it versus buying my bulk tank. I could have bought the bulk tank; it would have been like about $40,000. I would have owned it, but renting it for $400 a month, I said, okay, I'm gonna have 10 years, and then how I see it is by doing that, they maintenance it. So anything I'm on my second tank already in the last 5 years. They had to replace it because they're like, oh, you know what? It didn't pass the maintenance. Might as well we'll just take it out. So that's what's nice about renting. Owning's also great because then it's yours. You can do whatever you want to do with it and take it with that. So which is great. Now let's go ahead and talk about what injuries you've seen that localized cryo, especially with the Sub-Zero, has helped out quite a bit with athletes or everyday people. Now you said you both were in home health care. You were with the VA, so you helped a lot of people who probably had rheumatoid arthritis, couldn't walk around. Well, give me some ideas of some of the things that you've seen that the Sub-Zero is amazing with.
I started with pain relief.
Pain relief?
When I left, I actually left the VA because I was slowly like listening to that burning fire inside of me that I am meant to build a business and have something on my own. So I left the VA and then I moved to oncology unit as an acute care nurse. And that's when I started seeing a lot of pain because I'm dealing with chemotherapy. So after that, I see a lot of clients starting with pain relief, a lot of knee injury, a lot of recovery, and then slowly, that's when I was exposed to cry slimming.
Mm-hmm.
And I partnered with a marketing company, and we focus on cry slimming. So 99% of my clients now, it's all about body sculpting.
Body sculpting with it. Okay.
Yes. So that's what I see more of my clients right now. And cryofacial, which is a big
Yes,
thing right now.
that's huge. Yeah, we that's what we do in our office all day long.
Yeah,
It's
all
huge.
day long. So cry slimming and cryofacial.
And Doc, what about you?
Wow. So honestly, the greatest part, I think, honestly, I don't know if there's any one specific injury. So the way I usually try to tell anyone is anything that's going to cause inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you're going to have an injury to a muscle, ligament, tendon, anything like that, that the body's first initial response is to be inflamed,
Yeah.
it will help with.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we can control the blood flow, we control the healing process.
Yeah.
Right. So honestly, any injury you can really think of, it might have to be treated a different way.
Right.
You might have a little bit of a different protocol with it.
Mm-hmm.
But any injury that we can control or that's going to cause the inflammation, the Sub-Zero will help with.
Now, have you in your protocols have you used the Sub-Zero with another device to really get into the tissue to really help reduce inflammation?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So we do a lot of manual therapy along with our protocols, which we call the Cryo in Motion.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a lot of muscle scraping, cupping, things that are also going to help to loosen up the fascia, get the muscles kind of relax a little bit, get that blood flow flowing first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can always use the cryo as pain relief. You can help to increase that blood flow as well. A lot of athletes, when you're having an injury, they're so sensitive to touch that sometimes even when you're trying to get that muscle tissue, you can't get them loosened because they're so painful.
Right.
Whereas in that aspect, you can use the Sub-Zero to kind of spray it over a little bit, maybe not quite as much for the inflammation,
Mm-hmm.
but to get it to where it's more sensitive that you can kind of dig in a little bit more, and then you can get it to loosen up. So,
yeah. Okay, no, and that's great to hear because this is one of the things. Like now, guys, the main reason for this podcast is we want bring in medical professionals to talk about this stuff, but we want to make sure that people also don't practice out of their scope too.
Correct.
When they have their practices.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's always great to have training and be able to do this so you could be able to detect. So for example, like we in our office, we use the Localize and we use a muscle stimulation device. It's called the Mark Pro. To really help with that because we had training from both. Training with Sub-Zero, how is it?
So both of us are actually master trainers.
Excellent.
Yes, I was.
That's why I got you guys here.
So I was trained by multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very different providers have different protocols.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I love to surround myself with different providers. So I pick, a piece of that and a piece of this.
Yeah.
So with Dr. Cryo, I introduced him to a lot because he has a different protocol, and that right there gives a lot of perspective to, especially like licensed massage therapists or even like chiropractors and physical therapists who doesn't know what he does. So I learn a lot from him, and I learn a lot from other providers who actually does body sculpting with Sub-Zero cryotherapy. So us, because of the exposure that we have, and we actually interview a lot of providers as well, we pick up those informations and we just merge into the training. But America Cryo has a good online training that was actually established by Next LV. And then we have our own protocols. He created his own protocol for pain, and I created my own protocol for cryostiming because that's what I do most of the time.
That's awesome. Yeah, because people are going to come into the practice into your location, and they're going to come for either one, either or pain or body sculpting. Because everything, and that's going to be the next question that I was going to ask you guys here. We're going to lead into that, but Doc, tell me a little bit more about what you're seeing, with the training option and all that.
So the greatest thing about this is really you have two levels of training. Okay. Yeah. You have the training for people that have no medical background, right? Mm-hmm. Whether they're aesthetics or anyone that just wants to jump in and help with spraying. So we can teach them protocols on how to use the machine, how to spray, how to increase the blood flow. The Sub-Zero has a little massager, so they can do that on it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, personally, I think it's going to work better when you're pairing it with some kind of hands-on training.
Yes.
So most of the people that I prefer to do the training with are massage therapists, physical therapists, chiropractors, things like that, that they can get a little bit more hands-on and into it, and then incorporate the Sub-Zero with it.
Excellent. And then, can I ask cost of buying a unit from you guys from American Cryo?
It's $7,499. It comes with online training.
That's it.
Very cost effective.
Very
Yes.
cost effective.
Yes, and for me, well, both of us agreed. In-person training is a must. Yes, you can learn things online, but actually handling the device with someone who actually does this almost every day is very, very imperative, because you learn something. A lot of people are hands-on. I learn hands-on.
Yeah.
So
I'm the same way.
yeah, I have to see, I have to feel the device. I have to have someone guide me along the way, because those little things, when you buy the device and you just learn from online, there are little things that you might miss that can ruin and break the device. So in person is a must.
Well, that and when they're doing the online, sometimes you don't realize you're going to have questions until you start doing it.
Correct.
Right? So that's why the hands-on kind of comes into bigger play.
Correct.
So you can have them demo it, and then they're like, okay, wait a second, I'm not seeing this. I didn't see this in the video. What do I do now?
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, all right. So before because we're coming to that time now.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about, I'm going to go ahead and ask you a few questions here. Okay. So, as you see, the health and wellness industry is changing every day. Before it'd be like, changing every year. Then it was changing every 6 months. Now it's every day, literally. So, where do you see the state of the industry going to these days right now?
It's evolving. I love it because there's so many modalities. All these biohacking modalities are coming. So I think with all these modalities coming together and providing this holistic treatment to a lot of people, this is going to be great, because from COVID, we learned a lot from COVID.
Yes, we have.
We did. So approaching health and wellness in a different way, I think with a lot of education that we can provide to a lot of people about all these modalities that we have right now here in Cryocon, this will open up a lot of opportunities to market this to people who wants to improve their health.
Yep. And then you guys agree with me that you're seeing that traditional medicine is no longer being traditional.
Yes.
It's being more integrative. So you see that being more and more going on, that even MDs are finally starting to study Western.
Correct.
Get more a little bit more holistic
approach.
Yep. Yeah. So,
Yes.
so you see that there. And then if you had to give advice to anybody right now that's watching this podcast who's thinking about, they already have a location, they want to add a new device, they're not sure about adding a device, or somebody who's, kind of like me, I was in finance for so many years, then out of nowhere, it's like, hey, you're going into medicine. I am, so, but, the people who are just, changing to better health themselves, but also better health everybody else out there. There's so many different things. What advice do you give them?
I would say absolutely go for it, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times I think when have these ideas going forward, we hesitate.
Yeah.
What I love the most about this is it brings a different aspects to the field. So a lot of people don't even realize, it's surprising even this population recovery and how we've advanced with athletics and everything else. Yeah. A lot of people don't even use cryo, period. Right? Yeah. So I go to these mobile events, I use the Sub-Zero showing it, and I'll get people, what is that? What's he doing?
Yeah.
And then you start talking to them about the benefits of it, and then they're like, well, I didn't even understand that before. I didn't realize that. So it's just getting that awareness out there, and I think that as slowly it starts picking up a little bit more, you're going to see a lot more people have it.
Yes.
And Diana, so I place an order with you right now for $7,500. You bring me this beautiful suitcase. What comes in it, so I can know exactly, so I can incorporate it into my spa?
So what comes in the suitcase is a QR code that tells you how to sign up for the online training, and then the rest of the accessories that we have, all the tips that you will need to provide all the different treatments. You can use those tips for cryofacial, for cryoslimming, and for targeted for localized pain. So all of those are included. Not the CO2, because the CO2 you have to get it from someone else. So that's what I need to clarify, that we do not provide the CO2 tank. The suitcase, the instructions on how to get the online training, sign up online training, and all the accessories that you will need. Business in a box, $7,499, cost effective, the best localized cryotherapy out there.
Okay. Well, I mean, that is great. And then, let's go ahead before I do the closing remarks here. We talked a little bit about what you guys do, but tell us what you guys like to do. Everybody needs to understand also that, we're working 9 to 5, sometimes 9 to 9, and, it could cost us relationships. It could cost us families. It could cost us mental health, this and that. So tell us, what do you guys do after you're done helping people throughout the day? What is your favorite thing to do afterwards? So people understand that they need to learn how to balance work, health, and life all at once. So what can you say?
Well, I do exercise.
All right.
Yeah, I do my best to exercise. It's not just when I'm off work, but actually, because like you are, I'm a business owner, so I'm at the clinic most of the time. But I incorporate that. For me, it's like it's exercise is non-negotiable. I have to, because I cannot provide a service. I cannot encourage people to be healthy if I'm not healthy myself, right? Yeah. So I have to make sure I'm in shape. I have to make sure I'm good, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And as a registered nurse, I want to say that too. I want to give messages to a lot of nurses out there. A lot of nurses out there are burnt out, just like me. And you have to listen to the burning fire inside of you, that you are meant to do something greater for yourself. And that's what I did. So just go for it. Just do it. Because there's a different level out here when you're a nursepreneur, an entrepreneur, you're running your own business. It is not easy, but it's totally worth it for you to have your own time, travel, and just meet awesome people. Be in a podcast like this. So it's like this is a blessing. This is great. So to all the nurses out there, just do it.
And then Kyle, how about you?
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's just finding that separation. Anytime you own a business, it's really easy to get sucked into it. So having the family be supportive, making sure you're spending the time with the kids, just time management. That's the biggest aspect of it.
Yes.
Huge. You hit the key word, time management. That's the thing. Time blocking, time management. Make sure you guys do that, and go from there. But anything you guys want to do a quick little plug in for before we close it out? Anything?
Well, go ahead, Dr. Cryo. You want to go first?
Yeah. So like I said, I mean, I do training for my cryo in motion pain protocols. So if they're physical therapists, massage therapists, chiropractors, anything like that, where they want a little bit more training or different protocols to go with the cryo, that's kind of what I do.
So how can they reach you?
So you can go to dr-cryo.com.
Okay.
And all my information's on there. And we can schedule a consult and we'll get a hold of you.
And then Diana?
So we are launching, my team and I are launching the Cryo Nurse Academy.
Nice.
So basically we are helping nurses. I have been helping nurses build their own cryotherapy business. The first Sub-Zero cryotherapy in Hawaii is actually my client.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. The Cryo Health Hawaii, and also in New York, the Cryo Crew. And we are launching one in Texas, the Cryo RN, and the Cryo NP, which is a nurse practitioner. So I've been helping a lot of nurses and other providers, medical providers, to launch their cryotherapy business. Leaving that bedside care and having their own business is great. Yeah. So.
Well, guys, I want to go ahead and say thank you for being part of this podcast. This is our official launch of the CryoCeo podcast, and I am truly blessed to have you guys here being part of it with us. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, guys, this was the Cryo Nurse, Dr. Cryo, with American Cryo, and they were talking about the Sub-Zero localized cryotherapy machine. You guys can reach them as you got their information. So one more time, how can they go ahead and look you up really quick for the device?
Follow me, the Cryo Nurse, on
Mhm.
Instagram and on Facebook, and
Yep.
also America Cryo on Instagram and on Facebook as
And then
well.
the website is
AmericaCryo.com.
americacryo.com. You guys heard it right here. The devices are there any back orders on these devices? Or how is everything going with shipping?
Ship it out 2 weeks.
2 weeks. You guys can't go wrong with that. I mean, you're talking, this is coming from a guy here who, I had to wait 6 to 8 weeks, and one was 6 months for one device. So I get it. So this is great. But guys, thank you so much. I want the viewers to go ahead and stay tuned for more podcasts. We're here at the 2024 Cryocon convention in Plano, Texas, in Legacy West, and we're looking forward to it. And come join us pretty soon. Thanks so much.